Oh
That's
my
in my
God.
exercise mix.
Do you still really use an iPod?
Yeah.
Remember when iPods were like new and cool?
Yeah.
I remember your U2 edition, Anton.
Yeah! Oh my God! Dude, it got stolen. Someone stole it. So,
Well, of course,
someone
it was the U2 edition.
literally, someone broke into my Tercel, and like the only thing they stole was my deck and my iPod.
Yeah, my car got broke into, and the only thing they stole was change. And they stole my iPod. Was it a Mini? Yes, I think it was a Mini.
The only car that I've ever owned that was broken into was a rental car, and they broke into it and stole my coat. And it was fucking freezing the entire way home because my window was broken. It was November in Utah, and like I tried to put like a shirt up over the window, and it's just flapping, and I froze.
That sucks.
Yeah, assholes.
Just put the heater on high.
It was a rental. I don't care.
Right.
Everything was on high. The volume was blasted.
Okay. You guys ready to start this up? I think brings us on to like one of the next remakes. It could be another possible Kingdom Skulls in the making. Is the fourth installment of the Jurassic Park series, Jurassic World.
Yeah. So my first question, and someone asked me this today, did Richard Attenborough, before his untimely passing, did he have a part in the film? Because if I remember right, in Lost World he was dying, right?
Yeah.
Like when Ian Malcolm goes to visit him, he's sick in bed, and that's why he's like liquidating all of the, who is it, InGen. He's like liquidating all the InGen stuff, and there's that new lawyer who's like trying to steal it from him, right? And that's basically the whole plot. So I figured that he would probably be deceased, like the character would be deceased, John Hammond, but I just thought it would suck if he had died like during filming or anything like that. But
yeah, and based on the new plot, it doesn't, like, luckily, like, they didn't need any of the old cast members back. You know, it's like Laura Dern was like barely in the third one. Which I thought was good because that movie was a total pile of crap, and Laura Dern only helped it not be as bad as it could have been for like 5 seconds on screen. But yeah, with the new script, they don't need anyone from the old one. Like, with the script, I actually think it'd be corny if like anyone like was given any cameos, unfortunately. Right. Because I would love to see like Sam Neill or the Goldblum in his
the
magicalness.
Goldblum makes everything great, right? In his masterful omnipotence.
Yeah, but I don't think there's going to be anyone in it.
Right. Apparently, Richard Attenborough was going to be in it, but of course, it's already been filmed, or it's already filming, or whatever. But I guess he pulled out of it before he died, and permanently pulled out of it. But there's a statue of him in it, I guess.
Oh right, yeah.
I was going to say it would be cool if they used like recycled footage, like if everything's busted down and it's like the video of him talking to Mr. DNA. Like that would be cool. Like that's a cool throwback, right? Like, oh, hello, John. Hello, John. Like, that would just be great, you know?
I do have, like, high hopes, though, because, like, Jurassic Park 3 was such a pile of shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be good. Like, I like, what's her name? Like, Bryce Howard?
Yeah, Bryce
she's
Howard.
awesome. I think, I don't really feel like she's had this big of a role before. Because, like, in past movies, she's always had, like, a pretty small one. So I guess we'll see how that goes. But, Chris Pratt, I think he'll do fine. I don't think he'll, like, steal the show or anything, but I think he's definitely not going to suck.
Well, I guess Bryce Dallas Howard, like, probably the movies that she acted in the most were the Shyamalan movies, right? Because she was in The Village, where she was the main actress.
Yeah,
and then Lady in the Water, right? And she does fine. Like, for what the roles were, she did good.
Salvation.
Oh, yeah, Terminator Salvation. I always forget that she's in that.
Yeah, well, super small part.
Right. But no, I'm super excited. Like, I don't know. We've all talked about how like Jurassic Park was such a huge formative part of all of our movie youths, you know. So I would love to see it get new good life. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
And it's such a good story. I mean, the great thing about it is that I'm a huge Michael Crichton fan to begin with, but the great thing is that the story, it's a movie that's written well because it's a story written around a single basic premise. You know, we we can now bring dinosaurs back. What happens? And it's not this huge convoluted story. There's not a lot of, really intricate details that you need to know to understand why it's happening. And also, we're pretty sure that this wouldn't be able to happen anyways, without some sort of like serious scientific advancement. So it's already in that realm of absurd. So you can kind of run with the science however you want because it's already considered absurd. Yeah. So I think as long as they are careful with this and as long as they just like keep it to that with the same premise, different situation, good characters, good acting. Don't make the story. Don't drown me in story. It's fucking dinosaurs on the loose. That's what it's going to be. That's what it needs to be. So.
Yeah. Well, and it'll be really cool to, because we weren't really able to see this in the first Jurassic Park, and obviously not in the second or third, but to see like a fully functional Jurassic Park with thousands of tourists a day that's working as it should, then shit.
Yeah, no. When the Pirates of the Caribbean break down, pirates don't eat the tourists.
Yeah, it's basically like Jaws 3, but with dinosaurs. I'll be pretty happy.
Yeah, no, totally. And I mean, I agree with both of you. Like, because obviously we've all done some pretty heavy research into it because it's something we're all invested in. But with even the heavy research that I've done, it seems like I'm not afraid to get my hopes up. You know what I mean? Like, there's always the movies coming out where you're like, I'm just not going to get my hopes up. I'm just going to go in with super low expectations and hope to enjoy it. But this one, I feel confident enough to be like, no, I'm looking forward to it. Like, I'm going to see it. It's going to be good.
I think the way they could ruin it is they could Godzilla it, They could make it where they take these central characters, which are going to be the dinosaurs, and make them have a backseat to some sort of like love interest or maybe some sort of like three-way quarrel between a bunch of main characters, or like there's too much story around the humans and what they're trying to do, and also dinosaurs chasing them, which is going to ruin the movie. I mean, the core premise needs to be things are going okay, something bad happens, now there's dinosaurs everywhere, how do we fix this?
Yeah,
as long as they do that, cool.
They just need to get the correct amount of like character development that was in the first movie. That like it wasn't too much, but it was enough to like where we like didn't want to see these people get eaten because we like cared at least that much about them.
No, the first movie to me is so brilliant, right? Because they like it's almost like I don't know if you guys have read the like Pixar released like 27 ways to make your plot good, right? And like if you go back and watch Jurassic Park, the things that they do in it are so awesome because it's basically like you take this group of people and very quickly, without having a lot of time to develop characters, like we don't hear huge backstories about all of them, but you learn little nuggets of truth about all of them. Like Dr. Grant doesn't like kids, and he's really, him and Ellie are kind of together, but they kind of have commitment issues because they're both free spirits. Ian Malcolm is like this crazy math guy who swears that everything that can go wrong will go wrong, right? And you get these little basic things, but then they're all thrown into situations where they're uncomfortable, right? Because now Dr. Grant is with the kids, and he's got to save the kids, and he doesn't like kids. He's annoyed, And then there's like this whole commitment thing where like Ian Malcolm's hitting on Ellie, but she's with Dr. Grant, and then like Dr. Grant's gone, and she has to go save him, and like even that scream that she gives, like the first time she sees him after she like stumbles out of the Velociraptor thing, and she's just like, Alan, and it's like, like that's so good, you know what I mean? Like it's just brilliant. That movie was so well done.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of my pet peeves in storytelling or in movies is when people outright tell me something about a character. Like, I don't need someone to say, like, here's Ian Malcolm, professor of such and such at so-and-so university. Like, have an opening scene where he's teaching and then leaves. That communicates to me who he is, what he does, what his background is. Show me, don't tell me.
Yeah, like Ian Malcolm was, like, a perfect example because he doesn't, like, tell... Like, no one tells us really what he does, but he just... You kind of figured out because he's just kind of like an egomaniac and he's kind of a dick. And like, oh, you don't know about, like, this weird niche in the mathematical community?
Right.
And you're just kind of like, okay, like, I like him. He's kind of a dick.
Right. Now, or even like the little lines, right, where like you have no backstory on him, but he says something like, oh yeah, like I've been married 3 times, I love kids, and he's like, I'm always on the lookout for the new future ex-Miss Malcolm. Mm-hmm. And that's all you need to know, right? You're like, okay,
with
I got this guy figured out, right? Yeah, as he's drinking from a flask. And it's like, I totally have this guy pegged. And you haven't had to tell me like a huge backstory about him. I feel like I've known him my whole life. It's awesome. Like, that first Jurassic Park movie was just brilliant. I don't care. Like, go down and test of time.
That's why I think Chris Pratt. I'm going to jump on the Chris Pratt bandwagon because I think he's a great actor.
Yeah,
I think he's going to bring a lot to this movie because he's really good at becoming a character and communicating, through body language and just through his antics. Who his character is. He did a great job in Guardians of the Galaxy. I totally believed his character. Parks and Rec, I totally believed his dipshit character. So I think I don't know. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. I mean, that's all. It'll be awesome. Like, hopes are high. And that's a lot more than I can say about a lot of movies that have come out recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that's so great about the generation we live in is just like the whole indie culture, right? Is that like, now there are so many delivery methods of everything that true talent can shine through. Like, if you're actually a really decent filmmaker, you can throw together a film and just show it at like a local film festival, or you can even throw it up on YouTube, and if it's great, people will watch it. Like, but you will get recognized.
Yeah, but that's also like part of the like big problem though, is like there's so much shit that you have to sort through to like get to the good stuff. Yeah, because everyone posts like them videotaping TV shows, putting it online, like posting just like the worst crap imaginable on YouTube just because they have a camera and can do it.
Right. Well, and everyone thinks that they're the smartest ever. That's why they document every single moment of their lives on Vine. It's like, you're not as funny as you think you are.
Yeah, and you have these dickheads who've got two friends, and they're like, let's do a podcast. It's just like,
I know, right?
Hours of shit. God, I hate that.
Yeah, it's like if like Vine, Instagram, and Twitter can like teach us anything, is like everyone just kind of thinks they're their own celebrities and wants like fans.
Right. Yep. Yeah, it's just all about like instant gratification, right? Like, I want someone to tell me how smart or how clever or how beautiful I am, and I want it right now. Yeah. So it's just like, I don't know, constantly documenting everything. But, I mean, that's what's great. Like, Netflix, it's so funny. I always hear people argue against Netflix, and they're like, there's so much crap on Netflix, like I can never watch anything, like I can never find anything to watch. And I'm like, you are crazy.
There's a lot of good
stuff. If you don't think there's anything to watch on Netflix, you just don't know anything about anything. Because there's so many independent films, so many great series, so many great everything on there. Like, just do the research necessary, and you will always walk away happy.
I mean, there is a lot of crap, but there's a lot of good stuff.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think Flicka 3 is on Netflix right now.
Yes.
Wait for that. Yeah, I know. After Flicka 2, like, just left us all hanging.
Oh, man.
You guys, I don't think Flicka 3 is really on Netflix. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leak
I was looking, I was like, oh, man, shit, where is it?
Add to my queue. Add to my queue.
Another tech trend that I was bear witness to like a couple weekends ago in way too much detail was selfies. So I can honestly say in like 100% truth, I've never taken a selfie before. Yeah. But I saw one person, I was at an island for the weekend, and I kept seeing the same girl going to all these places, taking selfies with things in the background. And I have to say, like, it might have been like the most depressing social thing I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Like, what has happened? What has happened?
Well, it's weird how, like, travel, I guess, I guess it's weird that travel has turned into this thing where it's like, it's more important to say, look, I was here. I was at this thing. Look at me. I was here. As opposed to just going there and enjoying it. Like, I've been to tons of really cool places where I don't have my phone with me or I don't have my camera with me. I want to take in the fact that I got to see this really cool thing,
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you're like videotaping or taking pictures, you're absolutely taking yourself out of the moment, even for like a split second.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, so it's not the same.
And like, I'm not trying to like pimp my ride or anything, but like Ryan, I've been actually like super impressed by the pictures you take, right? And it's like, that like, I've read a ton of different people who take pictures and they say like, the one downside of taking pictures is you kind of have to give up your personal experience of the moment. Like, you have to decide, am I going to just be here and experience it, or am I going to document it? And it's like this choice you have to make. And it's now like all of this selfie culture and everything like that. It's all about like, I would rather document it than experience it. I just want, like Anton was saying, like, it's more important that people know that I'm here in this place of thousands of years of culture than just sitting here and kind of experiencing it.
Yeah, I think it was, It was some sports team. I guess they're like outright banning iPhones and iPads, like recordings, which is kind of sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, do you guys remember back in the day when we were younger and you would go to concerts and it was like absolutely no picture taking or videos at all? And now it's like they can't even enforce it. Yep. Yeah, exactly. You can't even enforce it.
Yeah.
And I always want to see the guy who just takes a full iMac and like runs an extension cord. That's what I want to see.
Like I will go as far as to say, like, it's cool if like one person once during like a concert or something, like snaps off like one picture.
Yeah.
They're just like, bam, like that's my favorite band, done. But like people who are just like, I'm going to record all of this now so I can enjoy it later. That. Yeah, you're never going to watch it.
No.
Well, not only that,
and it's going to suck.
Yeah,
right. I have found it so fascinating how often I go to a concert up in Salt Lake City and it's on YouTube the next day, like in full, because someone stood there the entire concert with their phone out recording the entire thing. And, I mean, first of all, it sounds like it was recorded through a potato. And second of all, it looks grainy as hell. You know what I mean? So it's just like, what value are you adding? Like, you are telling people to not go to concerts, but then you're providing this, like, shit quality version of them? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, with AdSense, it's just, they're like, if I can put this up there, I'll get the most views in the next 48 hours before it gets copyright claimed, and I'll make $7. So
right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope they're at least monetizing it. But,
right.
So I guess this is, since we're already talking about retro games, and we're talking about, you know, relics from the past, let's talk about the defining game of our childhood, or defining game of our early gaming years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the game that you played that took you from saying, oh man, I'm going to try this out, games seem cool, to this is my thing, this is my jam?
I know that this dates me as kind of a young person, but I honestly would have to go with Halo 1 on the original Xbox.
Yeah.
Before that point, games to me were something that you just played. Like, it was an objective, right? It's like, here's a level, get from here to there. That's what all games were. Like, even the racing games, like Mario Kart, it was just like, whatever. And I enjoyed them, but Halo was the first time that I felt like I was really given a rich story that I had to play through. Like, even though it's dumb now, like, looking back, but it was like, there were people counting on me. Like, I have to go save these Marines, you know? And it was like, even though it was still just like, here you are, get from here to there, the way the story was told, I was just like, oh, so this is what video games can be. Like, this is the story where I'm literally watching a movie, but I'm the main character, and, like, everybody's counting on me. And it totally changed everything, not to mention the, like, 8 billion hours I spent blowing away everyone with shotguns and multiplayer.
And trying to get off the map. That was my favorite part about Halo. Was getting off the map and then sniping people from, like, way off in the clouds. And then being like, fucking wall hacks.
Yeah.
But there weren't wall hacks. It was just because the maps were terrible.
Yeah, I remember the one in Blood Gulch where you, like, climb up the one hill and then you just hop,
like rocket jump.
Yeah, and you can get up forever away, and you can spend the whole time up there with a sniper rifle, and the only thing that brings you down is running out of ammo. You're like, son of a bitch, I'm out of ammo.
Yeah,
but yeah, for me, I honestly think, like, what finally converted me where I knew that I would be, like, a gamer my whole life was that. And then, like, shortly after that, it was, like, the Half-Life, Team Fortress Classic, like, stuff like that, where I was like, okay, this is what it's about. Like, I get it. I want to do this for the rest of my life.
What about you, Ryan?
I don't know. So I remember, like, Zelda 64 was, like, the first game that's, like, sort of, like, blew my mind. Mm-hmm. Like, that I was, like, very, very into, but... Like, my World of Warcraft, so to speak, was probably, like, BF2 in, like, 2006, because I played, like, a stupid amount of hours on that game, and at the time, the maps for that game were gigantic. Mm-hmm. And that's, like, literally all I would do for, like, hours, like, every night, and, like, my, like, relationship at the time sort of, like, suffered for it. Work might have suffered a little for it. School suffered for it, but that was kind of, that was my jam.
But there's nothing more rewarding than just, like, loading a Jeep of, like, full of C4 and just driving it into, like, the enemy camp and just blowing everyone to shit.
Yeah.
It was so rewarding. So awesome.
Yep.
And it's funny because you mentioned, I'm pretty sure that when you say Zelda 64, you mean
Ocarina of Time and not Majora's Mask because one was certainly better.
I'm a busy man. I need to save time, so I just say 6.
Right. But that's what's funny is like now, even though I think that Halo is exactly what Anton's talking about, like the most influential, if I'm talking about like my favorite, like the game that just like meant more than anything else, it was Ocarina of Time. Like hands down, I can still pick it up today, have the same feelings I had the first time I played it. Like I don't know. I don't know if some games have like become more touching in a way. I don't know, more just like brings out more emotions, but nothing will beat like that final confrontation with Ganon where it's just like, here it is, like the battle of like good versus evil on the screen and it's all up to me. It was just undeniably awesome.
Yep.
Anton?
So I had consoles all the way up through the Xbox One, and it really was just like a pastime, just as a way to kill time and play games with friends. But I ended up building my first like game-ready PC when I really started working in IT when I was like 15 or 16, and I decided I wanted to like explore playing. What it really was is I bought a video card, and the video card came with a key for Half-Life 2. And I was like, whatever. I mean, it's free. I'll download it. I haven't really played games on PC besides like SimCity or, like other pretty basic games. So I downloaded it, and like it was the most fun I've ever had playing a game. And I hadn't played the first one. I went back and I retroactively played it later. But man, I think I sat and played through the entire Half-Life 2 story in 2 sittings. I think it was one day and then after school the next day. And It was so much fun. Just the way the story was told and the way there was no cutscenes. I didn't have to like take a break from the game. Like it was the first time that, like you were saying, I felt like a movie that I was a part of, and I really had taken. I was Gordon Freeman, and I could really explore the world myself. And there's physics in it, so you could really solve puzzles your own way. And that's after that game. When I finished that game, I was like, I need to play a lot more games because this is. I didn't really realize that they could be that powerful and they could have, that much story and that much immersiveness. They couldn't be that immersive. I didn't realize that before. And I had played Halo before that. I really enjoyed Halo, but it was more of a frag. It was more of a frag fest with my buddies and me. It was just, I'm gonna kill you, you kill me. But I don't think I even finished the campaign in Halo.
Well, and it's funny because something that you mentioned, I thought that one of the coolest parts about the Half-Life series on the whole was I remember like the specific moment that I realized I was like, this game is super linear. Like they make it feel open world, but it's super linear, but they crafted it so well that it never felt linear. Like I always felt like it's me. I'm choosing where to go. I'm picking my own, like, am I going to go through the vents or am I going to find the key card and open the door? And it was just always really impressive to me how I actually felt like it was me making decisions and that I was affecting what was happening in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I could never enjoy, like, with the Call of Duty games, because, like, the single player on those things is like a Disney ride. It's like when you get to this physical checkpoint, that's when the enemies come out. Not until like you put one foot on this spot does like the event happen. Yeah. And it's just like a horrible Disney ride of shit.
Yeah. That's my pet peeve in games, is especially when you get to turret sections where they're like when you're just on rails and it's just like we're gonna give you wave after wave of enemies while you're stuck on this train or whatever, and you're just sitting there at a turret having to kill guys. It's like it adds nothing to a game. It's literally taking you where you need to go while you just bide time. And most of those don't even have like a kill count that's necessary for you to pass. It's just either you kill them or you don't, whatever. You're just wasting 2 minutes until you get to the next linear story element.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me it's just everyone keeps reinventing the elevator levels from like old school 2D brawlers. Like that's all those are. Turret sections are elevator levels where it's like, here is a level where we're not really going to have a background. You're going to be on a moving platform, and we're just going to dump enemies on you until like a certain time has passed. And that's exactly what turret levels are. That's exactly where it's like, hold this position until X is, where it's just like, come on, like this isn't original anymore. Yeah. And it's just, I remember watching, I think it was the announcement for Modern Warfare 3. And as I'm watching the gameplay on like the announcement, I was like, are they serious? Like, we're now underwater with like jet skis and like it's a Michael Bay movie. That's all it is. I'm watching a Michael Bay movie and occasionally pressing the trigger.
Well, the genius and the like stupidity of Call of Duty is that like it makes someone who just picked up the controller and like a veteran basically at the exact same skill level. Like on multiplayer on those games.
That's why I met so many 12-year-olds who've had sex with my mom. Like, it's incredible. I never knew she got around like that, but Call of Duty taught me.
You need to knock it off, Mom.
Right, exactly.
You don't know where those 12-year-old dicks have been.
Right. Have you talked to their parents? Should they be playing Call of Duty at 11 o'clock at night?
Are condoms that small? Because I guarantee you're not using them. Come on. Come on.
Awful. The best is, though, playing Call of Duty
Mom.
at, like, weird hours of night when you're playing with foreigners. Like, I always love playing and everyone's speaking Spanish, and I'm like, awesome. Like, this is the crowd to play with. I love it. I love it so much.
This is a really weird segue, but that's one of the reasons why I liked Final Fantasy XI, which I don't know if you ever played that online, but it had, it knew that a majority of its players were Japanese or Japanese, I want to say. It might have been Korean. I'm sorry if I'm offending the Asian community. But I want to say Japanese because Square Enix is a Japanese company. Right. But it knew most of its population that was playing that game was Japanese. And so they had the chat system, like all of the most common things that people are going to say, like, hey, let's make a party, or, hey, how are you, or do you want to trade? They had, you could select that, and it would auto-translate it to whatever language the person's client was set in. So you could, actually, awesome. Party up and play with people who didn't speak the same language. You didn't have to have that language barrier, which is pretty cool.
Nice, yeah.
Other than that, it's a fucking terrible game, but...
Yeah, I heard that it was actually, the only thing that Final Fantasy XI was good for was it was like Farmville 1.0, right?
Oh, yeah, dude. You spend solo, because the thing about it is that with most MMOs, if you want to just play solo, you can roll a hunter and you can coast all the way to max level. But with that game, once you got to level, I want to say 10, you had to group up because the enemies were just too strong. There was no way to Skype froze for a second. There was no way to kill them on your own. You either had to just farm little tiny lobies for hundreds of hours to get one level, or you could group up. Style. Yeah, or you could group up and go to the areas, and it's like the level 10 enemies, you had to have a full party to kill. And so, it's so hard to level that most people either just didn't level and just farmed, or crafted, because you could, at level 10, you could craft the top level items as long as you bought the components. So you just work on your economy, get enough money, buy the components, sell the crafted items, and you could just sit there and just be a bank, all day long, which I guess that's fun for some
people like that. It's like real life banker. It's awesome. No, that's why
I'm job.
Right. I'm taking a hardline stance. That's why, in my personal opinion, the greatest RPG of all time will be Chrono Trigger.
Oh,
and the reason being, if you just play through that game and you just fight every enemy you come in contact with, it is perfectly scaled so that you never have to go back and grind. Never.
Yeah.
The level system is perfect so that it's just play through the game, enjoy the story. When you get to the boss, you'll be ready for the boss if you fought everybody you came in contact with. Mm-hmm. It's perfect. You don't have to go back and kill a million Zubats.
And I like the Skyrim method where things are just scaled to you. You just play along the story, whatever level you are, that's what the other enemies are, and you just, it's always kind of scaled appropriately. That seems like a good method to me.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Especially because there are some people who don't want to play it to get all the best equipment, get all the best weapons. They want to play to enjoy the story. So it's perfect for those type of people, right? And it's also perfect for the people who want level 900 Daedric armor and everything. So it's just okay, you can enjoy it too. Go ahead and grind. Go kill all the trolls. That's all you need to do.
Man.
Was it Mario 2? Was that the super druggy one, right?
Yeah, Doki Doki Panic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's literally Mario's dream is how it's billed, and it's just super trippy. You're picking turnips and throwing them at the weird Shy Guy miniatures with long noses and...
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
You throw down the potions, and it makes a door, and you go into an alternate universe for a couple seconds.
Well, I think we should all hit each other with some retro shit, if you will.
It's funny that you bring up Mario 2 though, because I always judge people based on which Mario they think is the best. Because I think the only two acceptable answers are Super Mario 3
or Mario World. And they both have really good arguments for both. Yeah. But I met this guy recently and he's like, no, Mario 2's the best. And I'm like, you are the craziest shitbag the world has ever seen. Like, Mario 2 cannot be the best. It's not even
How
close.
many years will you go away for if the police came to your bedroom right now?
Right, exactly. How much
Riddle me that.
Like, would we even have to build a case, or are the exhibits just labeled in your room for how shitbird crazy you are? Because there's no way freaking Super Mario Brothers 2 is the best Mario game.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it though. I thought it was a lot of fun, but it's not the best by any means. I thought it was a cool kind of like misadventure for Mario. But it was weird, man.
Kind of like Mario is Missing. That is not a fun, cool misadventure for Mario. That game is awful.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Truth be told, though, I guess technically I'm a Sonic person.
Oh, right.
Not Nintendo person. Because I didn't evolve from NES to SNES. I went NES to Genesis.
Yeah.
Right. That's what's funny, right? Is because most of the time, like, so growing up with Ryan, everyone else I met, like, friends will do opposite, right? Because you want to, like, maximize your gaming potential, right? But both Ryan and I went NES to Genesis. So it was like, if I wanted to play SNES, I had to go over to my weird cousin's house and, like, beg to play F-Zero or Super Mario World. Mm-hmm. And that's how I had to experience those games, because I was at home playing Cyborg Justice or the X-Men game.
Well, I got screwed in that deal because I had a friend who we decided we were going to, like, you know, maximize our gaming experience. And so he got a PlayStation. I got a Dreamcast. And, like,
whoa,
at the time,
that's pretty different.
Like, I was banking on it. I was like, this is pretty cool. It uses discs. Whoa. That's pretty interesting. And, of course, PlayStation does too. But it's like, look at the controller. It's got, like, a little tiny screen on the memory card.
Yeah, like a little gigapet. Right on your controller.
Like, this could have a lot of... No, it doesn't. It had some good games, but...
Gigapet, you son of a bitch. You would bring up Gigapets.
Gigapet and...
Tamagotchi.
Tamagotchi, that's right.
Anton, I will not lie to you for even 1/2 of 1 second. Currently, in my front room, a Dreamcast is hooked up. Absolutely.
Mine is packed away.
Man. There were some winners, but...
I think that, honestly, if you are talking video game consoles that were built for arcade ports, the Dreamcast is the best. Yeah. Like, any game that was ported from the arcade to the Dreamcast was incredible. And as someone who was kind of, like, more than mildly vested in fighting games, the Dreamcast was the only choice. Like, the new Street Fighters came out on Dreamcast, even though the D-pad rips your thumb up like nobody's business. I just remember, like, playing Soul Calibur, playing Crazy Taxi, like, all these games.
Crazy Taxi, that's one of my winners right there. Dude,
there's Offspring all day long.
Dude, that's why I know about the Offspring, was from that soundtrack.
Right, if you get the really crappy version of Crazy Taxi that's broken and just plays the one Offspring song on repeat.
No.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep, right. There it is. Right. That's all you can hear.
It's kind of like, I remember playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1.
Oh, that soundtrack.
64. Yeah, the soundtrack is so perfect. Goldfinger, man. If I could sum up my entire, like, young high school music choice, it would just be Goldfinger. Right. It was so awesome.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, I still remember that, like, growing up playing video games, one of the funniest things was I would always go over to Ryan's house because my mom wouldn't let me rent Mortal Kombat because it was too violent.
All right, well, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, so I would go over to Ryan's house to play, like, MK2, and I'm pretty sure that if we were able to just, like, take a video camera and see ourselves at that age, we were shit. Like, we weren't good at that game at all, because I just remember getting my ass handed to me consistently, but it was so fun for me because it was forbidden. Like, I was doing something I shouldn't have done, you know?
Although I loved playing people on consoles at fighting games that they were good at on arcade, because I could dominate their ass. And it's like, they know all the combos with the joystick and the buttons, but when you reverse it around and you have to do it with just your thumbs, people suck. And so I could, like, totally kick their ass until they figured out how to port the combos. Because the combos were the same, they just were with different buttons. And then once they learned them, then I was fucked. But fighting games are a good time. I can pick up the fighting game on any console, even on PC. You can get some that are ported pretty well. The Mortal Kombat series on PC is actually pretty good. And I love just picking up a game of fighting games.
The new Ultra Street Fighter 4 port, super good. And the netcode is super great. Yep. Super great. Not as good as Killer Instinct for the Xbox One. But
Killer Instincts. Weren't they talking about Are they talking about a new one? Or did they
season 2's coming out.
Yeah.
So far they've announced Mara and TJ Combo.
Yep.
Cool. So when we were, I guess, like, quote-unquote beta testing that game for the Xbox One, I had one coworker who beat all the players just using the trip.
Oh, yeah.
Move.
No, like,
that was the only way to do it.
There are some super janky things, right? Because I even remember back when we would play Mortal Kombat, the trip was super OP. You could just get someone in a corner and just throw freaking low sweep all day long, and they can't do anything, right? It was the best. Seriously, it was the best of times.
I'm more of a Primal Rage person myself.
Primal Rage. Or Clay Fighters?
No.
No.
Fuck Clay Fighters.
Yeah.
That game was terrible.
I don't know if you're subtly referencing
I never got into was...
Fuck you.
What were you saying?
I said, I don't know if you were just subtly referencing Dickens, but if you were, fuck you.
I
hate Charles Dickens. Anyways, go ahead.
I was just going to say, another series that I never got into was the Tekken series. I had some friends who were super into like Tekken Tag Tournament and stuff like that. I never played any Tekkens, really.
Tekken's great, dude. Great game.
I'm pretty sure that my game most played is Left 4 Dead, the original one, and it's because of how much time I spent waiting for other friends in lobby to play Left 4 Dead.
I love those two games, yeah.
So it's like 200 hours of game time. I think I played like maybe 60. Maybe 60 of those 200 hours I was actually playing the game.
Yeah, like when that game first came out, that like blew my mind. Like the anxiety attacks like I would get when tanks would come and shit. I just lost my crap. Yeah. When that the first couple dozen times that happened in the game. Oh, awesome.
Well, and I remember it was the first game for me, like maybe there was one earlier, but I can't think of it off the top of my head, where you have two teams, but it's so clear that one is the good guys and one is the bad guys, and it lets you play as the bad guys, because you have Counter-Strike, right, where it's
You're talking about the multiplayer versus?
Yeah, multiplayer versus where it's I'm a freaking zombie, and I'm gonna eat your face off, and it's you try to place your bloater strategically to throw up on everybody. Yeah. So good, you know what I mean? And I don't know. I had so much fun with that multiplayer versus. It was a blast.
Mm-hmm.
Totes.
Good time. They should make a new Left 4 Dead HD remake.
Yeah,
they need to make well, it's Valve, so they'll never make a third one. But they should make Left 3 Dead for sure.
Or just a texture pack and more maps or something. I just want more content. I don't need a new game. Just give me more maps or something.
Give me some DLC, because if there's something I don't have enough of in my life, give me some DLC.
Yeah, more hats, Team Fortress, be my dick.
Which is funny, because I've actually never really, I think I have actually online played TF2 maybe twice. But I was a TFC guy, through and through. Then I went on my 2-year religiously affiliated vacation. And when I came back, TF2 was all the new rage, but it was way different than TFC, and I didn't get it, and I just never got into it.
Well, the problem with Team Fortress now is that if you go and play Team Fortress 2 right now, it's not as good as it used to be. There's so many changes that they've made to it that are permanent changes to the game, and you can't roll back and play it like it was when it first came out. And, day one, TF2 was some of the most fun online, just random bot playing I've ever had, because it was so well balanced. Each of the individual classes were so much fun to play as, and it just was a good time. But now they've added so much extra shit to it, so many different crap modes, crap guns, the whole leveling up to get different. It's not as fun anymore.
Yeah, they complicated it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They way overcomplicated it. It was a very simple game, and they made it way too complex.
Right. See, and that's what I loved about TFC was it was so simple, you know what I mean? And it was so quick to jump in and out of games, right? You basically join up, it immediately finds you a lobby, you're immediately in a game, you're freaking sniping it up, but then you quickly find out that everybody's sniping, so you go heavy, right? And it's just it was so fun, and it was so cool to play, and like you said, everything felt so balanced, where it was you could switch between classes and not feel like you were just getting gypped. You know what I mean? Being a medic, you actually had value in being a medic or being a heavy or being a sniper or whatever. And it was awesome. That, for me, that was my golden age of PC gaming was Counter-Strike and TFC and all those games where I was just it was before all the hackers took over with all the like cheats and all of the 12-year-olds started having sex with my mom. Like those were the days when for me, like first person shooters were just off the chain. They were so fun and I had so many good times doing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go for it.
No. Ryan, it's all you, my friend. Go.
Let's talk about wearable tech.
Let's do.
So,
Anton, I feel like you got a lot to say about this one.
Go against the dogs in this fight.
I'm going to go out there and say that I'm all for adopting new things, but wearable tech is stupid. I don't need something else notifying me about stuff. It's not difficult to reach in my pocket and get my phone. Like I've never once like had my phone buzz in my pocket and I said, "Fuck, it's so far to reach into my pocket and see what that was."
Little IT crowd, little.
Yeah, like
put it right in your pocket. Oh,
like phones are already
pocket's too
all
far.
about convenience. Like everything that I want to do more conveniently, I somehow do it on my phone. I need a stopwatch, it's on my phone. I need a flashlight, it's on my phone. I need a calendar, it's on my phone. Everything I need is on my phone. It is the premium convenience device for me. Yeah, and so now taking features from that and adding them onto my wrist or onto my glasses to make them more convenient or more usable, I feel only makes them less convenient because now I'm splitting up my convenience device into multiple locations and multiple devices. And to pay like premium amounts of money for that drives me insane. Like,
yeah, like the heat seeker in me, like the inner geek wants that stuff. Like I want like the new Samsung watch, like I'm halfway interested in Apple's watch and stuff like that, but yeah, it's really just so stupid. Like I don't know. Like I wear watches too.
Yeah. And I've got a friend who bought one, and like his argument is like, hey, if I'm in a business meeting and I get a text, I can check it discreetly and see what the text message is on my wrist without reaching into my pocket.
But it's probably not that important anyway.
I get that. And it's not like maybe you can tap reply, but if you're in a meeting and you're like,
right,
like that's not inconspicuous. You're tapping on your gigantic watch, like your gigantic LED watch in a dark room.
You're just changing it. You're just using a smaller screen. That's all you're doing.
So, as the resident podcast idiot who owns a smartwatch, the one thing that I will say is the one thing that I think wearable tech is great for is fitness buffs. I really do. Ideas like the Fitbit, ideas where it's like tracking steps a day or amount of activity. It tracks calories burned. It tracks stuff like that. Super convenient, really cool. GPS tracking. I don't know if you guys saw the article about there's a girl, I think she lives in New York, I want to say, and she runs routes where she draws dicks. Like that's just what she does. She runs a new route every day and draws a penis. Like that's just like her jam, right?
That's cool. Yeah.
Right, but it's that feature of wearable devices to me is brilliant. That's really cool because it's a way to just get out, have everything tracked. But my one beef with mine is, so I own a Pebble, right? And this thing doesn't do anything if my phone isn't nearby. It's essentially worthless, right? It's not even a watch because it doesn't update time. Well, it does. It keeps running. Like it's not like it just shuts down, right? Yeah, it's exactly an accessory. But I want a GPS watch where, and there are some that have this feature, right? Where it's like I leave the phone at home and I run around and everything's tracked to my phone. Everything's kept on my phone, but I don't have to have my phone with me. And I think that's super convenient. That feature alone, I think, is great. Does it make wearable devices, like, worth it? Not yet. I don't think so. I think that we might get to a time where the technology is advanced enough that there's enough new that it makes it worth it, but now is not the time.
Well, I'm like one of the, I feel like very, very small minorities where, like, I like using my phone only as a phone. Like, I use it for making calls, texting, emails, and maps sometimes. Like, I don't use apps too much. I don't care about it syncing with my computer. Like, I don't need a portable computer as my phone. Like, I just don't.
Right.
Like, so
I think that my two most used apps are a checkbook app where I keep track of my purchases and Reddit.
Yeah. It's basically, I have a Reddit machine that is also a phone. Like that's what it really boils down to. Mm-hmm. But I could see, I think you really touched on it. Like a lot of developers right now are working on porting their current apps to the different wearable devices, and like there's like the Motorola that's got a round screen, and I think there's new ones coming out with like the square and rectangular screens. So they're all working on trying to port their apps to work in this smaller, lower resolution environment. And I would like to see, instead of trying to port the functionality of the phone to the wearable devices, make new features that are you can only use with those devices to make them something of value. You know, like you said, like the running apps, that's great. Fitness, you know, things like health monitors. I'm sure.
Yeah, health monitors, sleep trackers, like all those make sense. Like that. Yeah, that's brilliant.
I'm sure there's a ton of like diseases and conditions that you could monitor more effectively if you had like a constant 24-hour pulse monitor, or like a blood pressure monitor, or things like that could, you know, really be the phones can't do because they're not touching your skin constantly. There's a lot of applications that would make me interested in this technology if it wasn't just so rapidly being if developers weren't trying so hard to make me use Facebook and use Reddit on the watch, because I'm not going to do that, you know.